Harwintha Yuria Anjaningsih is one of about 70 Indonesians who have been awarded an Erasmus Mundus scholarship to study in Europe. She has graduated with a European master's degree in clinical linguistics, and psycholinguistic studies and therapy is her passion and her mission. She works as a lecturer in the English department at the University of Indonesia in Depok, the best university in the country.
Before I started the EMCL, I knew that I wanted to be a researcher because I want to see new things. I want to know the explanations for things, especially in language disorders that have been my passion for a long time.
The Republic of Indonesia, comprised of over 17,000 islands, is the world's largest archipelagic state. With a population of over 200 million people, it is also the most populous Muslim-majority country. The services sector, including tourism, as well as industry and agriculture, form the basis of the country's economy. The differences between this part of the globe and Europe are huge, but it's still the same world.
The impression that I got when I stayed in the three countries, Finland, the Netherlands and Germany, was that the European people could be as successful as they are now because their life is regular. Now I'm starting from myself to be regular, to take the culture, the customs that I learned from Europe. Hopefully, in the near future, we can have regular bus schedules like in Europe.
Harwintha lives in West Java, in Depok, a city of 500,000 people built on an old 17th century Dutch colony. The religious, cultural and architectural influences of those times are still visible today in the community of Belanda Depok, also known as Dutch Depok.
What I didn't like in Europe was that many men and women kiss in public passionately, and that's not polite according to Indonesian culture. We are embarrassed, but then I tried to understand that that's the way they live. So towards the end of my visit to Europe, I could somehow ignore those people, and because I understood that there is a difference between Indonesia and European countries.
The crowded and congested streets of Depok lead out to neighbouring Jakarta, a metropolis of 23 million people ranked as the 11th largest city in the world. On weekday mornings, Harwintha makes her not very long but very time-consuming way from her home to the university.
Here in Indonesia, we view our teachers as our parents. 2 years ago, I started teaching English phonology and English morphology, and I have applied the teacher-student relationship that I saw in Europe. I've been trying to become their friends, talking like friends, giving advice like friends. Manner of articulation, voicing, voiced, voiceless. What about manner of articulation? Option? Ah, really? Oh.
Stop, Africans.
Stop. Yeah, exactly. The result is that they still think that linguistics is difficult, but then they're not scared of it anymore.
Teaching English is one of Harwintha's activities. The other is psycholinguistics, a discipline which investigates the relationships between the human mind and language. Psycholinguistics analyzes the processes of memory involved in perception and the interpretation of texts, as well as the processes of speaking and listening, along with abilities to learn languages and language disorders.
Clinical psycholinguistics is something luxurious. I mean, we don't have it. We don't have many people at the moment who are concerned and who know something about clinical psycholinguistics. So it is really important. So I believe she can contribute to the society, but also to the educational institutions here in Indonesia.
The children with dyslexia are sometimes treated as children with low IQ. If we know that they have dyslexia, we can diagnose them, we can help them, they will have a better future. They can read books, they can gain knowledge, they can be somebody in the future.
There are only 300 professional therapists in clinical linguistics, and only 3 higher education institutions, including 1 state university, teach students in this field.
Program lainnya selain meningkatkan pendidikan.
As we try to increase the number of academies or education centers in order to improve the quality of speech therapists here in Indonesia, the Association of Speech Therapists also tries to cooperate with individuals and institutions with relevant knowledge and skills. The knowledge which Harwintha gained in Europe can be very helpful for us here.
I really hope I can help children with language problems. And I truly hope that the cost for getting therapies is lower in the future, so that unfortunate children who don't have rich parents can also benefit from therapies, and their schooling gets better, and then of course I think their future gets better too.
Harwintha is a modern woman. Although in Indonesia the role of women in public and family life is rather traditional, there are some changes going on in this sphere. This country, one of the biggest in the world, develops and absorbs Western models of living, while at the same time preserving its unique identity. Indonesia is also a country of contrasts, both in terms of the economy and in ways of thinking about and perceiving the world.
Tidak jauh berbeda posisi perempuan sekarang daripada
The position of women in Indonesia depends not only on religion, but also on culture. Very often, although not always, they are only mothers, taking care of their children and giving them education.
Women in Indonesia are getting more and more important, have double roles. They work and bring home money for the family, and after they get home, they care for the family, they take care of the children, cook for the family, and many other things. My family, and for Indonesians in general, is very important. Our aunts, our uncles, our grandparents. So we always try to be close to them. We always try to have a good relationship with all of our family members.
Strong family ties, religious attachment, and a mission to help children with language disorders. These are the reasons for Harwintha's return from Europe to her country. The problem of a brain drain of highly skilled and educated professionals is particularly serious in this part of the world. Harwintha does not intend to content herself with the knowledge she gained at master's level, but instead wants to continue developing and advancing.
I plan to go to Europe again, especially to the Netherlands, to continue my study. Hopefully after the study, after my doctorate, I know more about language disorders, and I will come back, and hopefully everything that I have learned in Europe in the doctorate program, and also what I learned in the master's program in the EMCL, can be put into practice and can be a good contribution for the country, especially for people with language disorders or learning difficulties.